Hello, hello,
Hello.
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 Welcome to Content Creators Connect. Here we're all about encouraging the three C's, connecting with others via video, a content development that builds your personal brand, and creators sharing their experiences despite their distance.
And the C3 team member leading this evening's discussion is Dori, known to everyone as DSpence, and is using her superpowers to install confidence in those around her and helping those other people become experts in their own adventures. So, Dori, your topic for this evening is very interesting. So, I am very curious to find out a little bit more about your journey to creating a good on camera look.
Well, journey is a perfect word for sure. If you took a little looky-loo at our thumbnail, you'll see that it has been quite a journey for me, for sure. So a lot of the secret sauce, I have to admit, is total trial and error. And one of the things that we're going to do tonight is we're going to cover some of very basic tips and tricks that are going to give everyone a good starting point. And then beyond that, it's just really important for each person to kind of test these suggestions, test them with your own camera equipment, test it in your own recording space, and you are going to need to completely dial in what's perfectly right for you. I also just want, as a disclaimer, to point out that what constitutes, I'm going to use air quotes here, looking good on camera is all personal taste. And it has a lot to do with the vibe that you want to put out and the audience that you want to attract. So, with that disclaimer in mind, please just keep that in the forefront as we move through tonight's talk. So, Manny, I'm curious to hear what kind of experimentation have you done with looking your best on camera? Have you enlisted anyone's help in offering you feedback, anything like that?
So I'm sure some of this answer you already know, along with Kevin, because I've seeked advice from you guys since day one, right? Like this was part of how we all met. So yes on that. But at the same time, as you can tell, still a work in progress. I do just enough to get by. And does mine look as great as yours or Kevin? No. Do I stress about it? No. At the end of the day, I'm a firm believer you need good lighting, get that light going. You need a good mic, It doesn't have to be the best of the best. It just it has to be better than just starting and just using nothing and caring about nothing. Because at the beginning, truth is, we just think just do your video, just get on video and then grow from there. Even with like my clients, I'm not worried about it looking super professional out of the gate when we get started. I'm looking at starting and then getting better as we progress, because a lot of times they don't have all the equipment right out of the gate. Should I let that stop us from starting? Absolutely not. So for me, yes, I've definitely done some experimentation, had people give me their feedback, and you guys have been super instrumental in just working on it. I mean, we've even worked with my green screen, right? We've worked on different backgrounds trying to find my taste. But because my genre is more true crime more than anything else that I'm in front of the live, I'm still struggling and finding that right mix to do it all. I've thought about the bike theme because I love biking, but at the end of the day, I'm like, that doesn't seem to make sense with all the true crime I'm doing. So I'm still struggling there a little bit. I feel like I need red and blue lights. That I really feel I need to get back there. Kevin, what about you? Like what kind of experimentation have you done to try to look your best on camera? Because obviously, even though you're playing with this mic there and it's in our ears, but you're always looking great on the camera, right? What do you do to get your feedback? And we can't hear you.
That might be, guest has muted themselves. Still muted.
Probably changed the mic a little. Uh-oh.
Oh,
Yep.
his cable. Okay.
Yep. Came out real quick.
Okay.
Now,
So,
Dori, what about you? Like, have you had people help you with yours? Because yours is freaking, you're like a pro at this stuff. Like, have you had help? I know your husband's helped you with your mic part.
my husband is absolutely amazing when it comes to audio. He definitely has an ear. I love that. But for me, yeah, I look at things and I compare to the old versus the new. But I'm always asking people, like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And you guys even know when I design things like thumbnails, I'm putting it out there to several people to get their take on it for sure. So I'm waiting for Kevin to give us the thumbs up. But okay, he's good to go. All right, Kevin, tell us a little bit about your experience with it. He's not good to go.
He's not good to go.
All
Sorry.
right, here's the thing. While Kevin is working, we're gonna press on. If this is the type of content that you would like to see more of, please consider hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell, ding, 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 so that you get notified whenever we go live. And we are going to move on to my content, and Kevin will be able to share his thoughts with us at the end. Okay, so step 1, we are going to be focusing on 5 tips to help you look your best on camera. And I am cringing at the thought of this, but we are going to use my first ever video I published as the basis for these talking points. And I want to just point out, don't do anything that I did in that video. So the first 2 talking points that I want to go over, I'm just going to mention because they are incredibly important. However, we have done several videos on these 2 particular topics in the past, and I would encourage you all to go and check out those videos, as I'm not going to spend a ton of time there because I feel like our time is better spent on some of these newer tips. But we also need to say hello to Anna, who is joining us again tonight. Hello,
Hey,
Anna. Okay, so tip number 1, we're going to quickly talk about lighting. We know how important lighting is to live streaming or recorded content. What I'm going to do, I'm so scared. No one run away from the stream, please. Please don't run away from the stream. So a couple things I want to point out here. I want you to take specific note of the shadows on my face. And I also want you to take note of the glaring, let me zoom in a little bit more, the glaring light in the background right over my shoulder over here, okay? And when you look at this screen grab, there is just an overall dark tone to this scene. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you 2 knowing me as you do, and Anna knowing me as you do, this is, would you say, not the theme or the tone that I want to be putting out there to the world, correct?
Oh.
So that brings me to flash forward. This is my current scene. Now, one of the things I just want to point out quickly, no one should be overwhelmed by the amount of technology that I have in the video. That's not the point of this. The point is not my background and it's not my studio setup. It's about the lighting on my face, how I'm standing out from my background, how there are no shadows on my face, and I'm very visible to all of you through the camera lens. That's the point of this, okay? So lighting, really important to making sure that you look your best on camera. Next, I'm gonna stay right here on this scene. facial expressions. Okay, facial expressions, we've talked about this. It boils down to your confidence on camera, which is something, as you know, I am incredibly passionate about, and I have talked at great length in multiple videos on our channel, so go check them out. But if you look at my facial expressions in this video right here, that exudes a different tone. It exudes a different personality than that one. That one just looks like I don't know. I can't even describe what was going through my head at that particular time. But that facial expression right there does not exude confidence. It doesn't let the audience, the viewer, my peeps, understand anything about my personality. Yeah, I look nervous. I look scared. I look anxious. You're 100% right, Anna. Anna said I look a little sad. So lighting and facial expressions, two things we've covered in the past, very, very important. The last thing I want to say about facial expressions is this. You need to practice in front of a mirror so that you can see what you will look like on camera. If you don't practice, or if you don't record yourself and review your videos, which most people are afraid to do, I tell you, you need to do it. You're not going to know what other people are seeing. Smile, and for God's sakes, relax and lean into being natural. That right there, that picture right there is not natural at all. It's not. However, this one, I would say, definitely is. So those points lead me, interestingly enough, into my next tip, which is camera angles. Camera angles are really, really important to looking your best on camera. Once again, oof. Okay, just a giant oof going on right there. So let's talk about what's wrong with the camera angles here. Okay, first of all, I'm not making eye contact with you. I am not making eye contact with you. Okay, it is so incredibly important that you give your audience the feeling like they are sitting in the same room as you, across the table, having a very natural, relaxed conversation. Okay? One of the things that I've learned about myself, and I encourage you to take note a little bit of how your head naturally sits when you're having a conversation. So for example, maybe your head naturally, like you sit with your head naturally tilted up a bit and your jaw kind of juts out, right? When I tilt my head up, I'm now looking down at my camera where it's positioned, okay? Or maybe you're someone whose eyes sit completely parallel to the ground. Or you look, your head tilts down a little bit naturally in your conversation, right? All of those things need to be taken into account when you determine where you place your camera lens, okay? So right now, my camera is directly level with my eyes, so it is just as if I were sitting across the table from you, Kevin, from you, Manny, from you, Anna, okay? In this particular video, which I'm pointing the wrong way, the camera is A, below me, and B, off to the side. And guess what? I'm looking over here at, you guessed it, a script that I was reading word for word for word. And if that doesn't ooze like unnatural, I don't know what does. But in this case, right, I'm literally looking right at you. My eyeballs are searing into your soul. So when you put the camera lower than your eye level, or in some cases, I've actually seen people put their camera too far above their eye line, and therefore they have to look up. A lot of streamers do that. They'll place their cameras very high above a monitor and have to look up at the monitor. So I'm looking above my lens right now, and my head is tilted up. My mic is now not in the right place, and it's just a very unnatural way to sit. But beyond that, there's some body language that people don't often take into account when it comes to where you look and specifically camera placement. Okay? If you set yourself up where the camera is below you and you are looking down, if you're on the receiving end of that stream, you could subconsciously get the impression that this person is looking down and talking down to you, right? Whereas here, we are equals. I am looking directly into your eyes. And the same thing can hold true if you put your camera up too high. You could give the impression that you don't think too highly of yourself. You lack confidence because you are putting yourself in a submissive position and submissive role to your audience. There's a little secret sauce behind like handshakes, and that's kind of where that same mentality comes from when you shake hands with people, which I teach my 10th graders in my careers class, but that's another topic. So you have to be really, really careful with specific placement of your camera. And then the last thing that you need to take into account is whether or not you wear glasses. So for me, all of these things, the lighting, the camera placement, they are all very particularly considered to avoid any glare or reflection from my lights. So if I were to look up at my lights, chances are you can see them reflected in the lenses of my glasses. Okay? So one of the things that you really want to consider is you want to avoid things that are going to detract and distract your audience from taking in your very important message. And it also makes it look a little less professional when you have things kind of glaring down on your face. Which now leads me to dun 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 dun, my next tip. Wow, it's so cool how these are just kind of rolling right into each other. So my next tip, and I don't want you guys to shy away from this, gentlemen, is makeup. You might be like, nope, I'm out. Peace out. I'll be back in 5 minutes. So your makeup, and yes, there are men who stream who use makeup to kind of touch up their appearance a little bit. And I want to talk about that. In this picture right here, you can see that there's some shine on my face. And it's not a good shine. Okay? There's definitely some shine going on. I'm wearing makeup, but I didn't touch up my makeup right before I recorded. Okay? Whereas in this photo, I'm wearing actually less makeup, but it's more effective because there's no shine on my face. It's completely matte. There's no glare, anything like that. These lights are very harsh. So you have to take that into consideration. And that's why I said, gentlemen, don't necessarily dismiss this and shy away from it. So first of all, if you're going to wear makeup, you need to make sure that you keep it aligned with your brand and your vibe. So if you're a makeup artist, then your look on camera is going to be completely different than, say, someone who has a homeschooling channel, for example, right? The key to using makeup is to use it to help remove slight blemishes on your dreaded shine. That's naturally going to come the longer you sit in front of these lights and have the heat and things beating down on you. And maybe just use it to boost your confidence a little bit if that's something that you feel you personally need to help you on your streams. Okay, so I actually know several gentlemen who have a little bit of hair loss going on up on top, and they just kind of use a little bit of a light powder to dab on right before they stream, so that there's no glare off their forehead or the top of their head. So it's something that is not just for women. And now my last topic. And this is something that I don't think people necessarily think a lot about. And that is clothing matters. Okay, clothing matters. I'm going to go back up to my first picture. Remember when I said the overall vibe of this video was just like really dark, right? So I'm wearing black clothes. I'm against a very dark blue background that is not well lit at all. There's zero contrast whatsoever. These are all big no-nos when you're considering what you wear on your streams. So the first thing I want to talk about is color. The colors near your face are either going to drain you of life, or they are going to be able to highlight some of your best features, okay? So in general, and I've done some research on this from people who work in, professional makeup and costume and deal directly with things like television shows and recording studios and things like that. And in general, there are 3 best colors that will suit anyone, regardless of your gender, regardless of your age, regardless of your skin tone, anything. And those are, you ready? Ruby red, emerald green, follow the yellow brick road, no, and sapphire blue. Okay, so once again, ruby red, emerald green, and sapphire blue. So again, taking a look at this picture here from my very first ever video, I am making a giant faux pas because dark colors, especially black, have what's known in the industry as an aging effect. Okay, so dark colors up around your face will emphasize shadows. And ladies, you know specifically we have these sometimes the bags under our eyes, the dark circles, all these things will be emphasized because black will bring out those shadows. And couple that with not having good lighting, oof, you're in trouble for days. So it's going to give you the look of looking tired. And I 100% agree with that in this picture. I look exhausted in this photo. Absolutely exhausted. There are shadows under my eyes. You can see the bags. And I'm a lot younger in this picture than I am right now. Just saying. So you need to be careful with dark colors. If you're someone who wants to wear dark colors because maybe that's your vibe, it's part of your brand, then a navy blue is a better choice than black. Kevin, actually, you're not necessarily a bad example. So don't say ruh-roh just yet. So in contrast to that, and notice I said the word contrast because this is important, wearing pure white, like a pure white t-shirt, could have the potential to wash you out if you have lighter, pale skin complexion, okay? So there's a science behind that because the camera fights with the white on your shirt or even sometimes the black on your shirt to create a good white balance in the lens. But the key here is contrast. So if you are someone who tends to live in the more pale skin part of the spectrum, then wearing white could create a more washed out look for you. But if you're someone who tends to have like darker skin, or if you're very tan, white could be a good contrast against your skin complexion. So it's just important to kind of keep those things in mind. And again, back to my disclaimer, it's whatever you think works for you. These are just some general tips. Now I want to move away from colors, and I want to quickly talk about patterns versus solids. And hopefully this makes sense. So patterns tend to not respond well to camera equipment. So if you wear something that has big patterns on it, the pattern could become overwhelming and distracting. Whereas small patterns like little houndstooth or like small checkers or things could actually look, this is weird, it's a trick of the eye, but it happens because of the camera lens, because of the tech. It could look like it's blurred or in motion when someone is watching that video, and almost give like a buzzing effect. So you need to be really mindful of that. I would steer away from patterns altogether if you can help it, unless, of course, it is something that is very particular to your brand and what you're trying to do. And the last thing I want to talk about is, and I know that this is going to sound slightly hypocritical when I say it, but hear me out. Avoid distracting accessories. From the girl who wears like super over the top eyeglass frames, okay? But here's why I say that. Jewelry and other items that you wear could not only impact your visual look. Like imagine if I were wearing big giant earrings, right? And I talk a lot with my hands, I move around. You're going to watch those things move around by my ears and be less inclined to focus in on my eyes and listening to my message, right? But in addition to that, as a little bonus, wearing things like that could also mess with your audio. If you wear a lot of chains, if you wear a lot of jingly things, and your mic is picking that up, it becomes incredibly distracting to your audience. So, and if it's something shiny and reflective, it could also impact what your camera is picking up, which could come across as a distraction to your audience. Now I say that, and once again, I just want to end with a disclaimer. Do what is right for you. And as I said in the beginning, it is really important for you to get people who are willing to give you feedback, and honest feedback about what they're seeing on your streams. And if all else fails and you have no one who's there to give you that feedback, then what you need to do is you need to record yourself, play it back, especially if you're someone who records in multiple locations without a dedicated setup. Push the button for 30 seconds and see what you look like. And bonus hack, grab a mirror, check your teeth before you go live. So those were my 5 tips for looking good on camera. I hope that you found something useful from that. And I am very interested to hear which one of those tips you gentlemen found to be most beneficial. So we're going to roll it on over. And Manny, I would love to start with you. And before you start, I do know that there are several things in the comments that we will address and bring up during this segment. So what do you think, Manny?
Great job, as always, Dory. Now, if it's one thing I've learned, and maybe it's the teacher in you, like knowing that was the first video that you put out and it wasn't perfect, I'm like, yay, she is human. Good job. I know you have those tendencies to really want to always be performing, and you're a prime example of, look, you started where you were and look how professional your production looks every time. And that's a perfect example of just start and grow from there. One of the biggest tips that I got, and you really hit on it, was the pattern, having different patterns versus solids. And I've learned, and I'm guess this is part of the patterns, but like striped shirts can really mess with the visual. And I'm guessing that's part of that pattern that you're referring to, because it has, sometimes I'll wear striped shirts and I can see how it messes up. Now, sometimes I'm not going to be live on video, so I don't worry about it too much, because I'm producing it for my clients, so they're the ones that are going to be on. But I can see that interruption where it's like kind of messes with your eyeballs. And another great tip, I know you just asked for like one, but those colors that we use on this screen can really blend, because really, when you really say it, my skin color kind of matches that brick back there. Not really too great. I didn't really quite think of it until you said that. So being conscious of the actual skin color with the background and everything else. So you really hit home on a lot of things. Great job as always. And
Thank
so,
you.
good job. That's my thought on that.
Thank you. Kevin, what about you?
First of all, can you guys hear me now? Do we have
Yes, we do.
yes. So I apologize for that, because with all of our streams, we look to improve everything, and I added one more piece of equipment this time around, and I just knocked my desk slightly, and lo and behold, my microphone came loose. So
Oops.
apologize for that, that initial issue, but great presentation. Definitely have a couple takeaways from that, and some things that I already do. And yeah, definitely before going live, I do check the mirror to see if there's anything in my teeth, because if you're smiling, people will notice that immediately. And also, further to what Manny was saying about the striped and checkered shirts. My previous role that I had, we had town halls, and we actually had TV cameras talking with our executives. And it was blaringly apparent, the first one that we did, where people came on with checkered shirts and striped shirts. And you're right, it was just like buzzing the entire time, and it was so distracting. It's like you weren't listening to the message, you were saying, how come my eyes are buzzing? And I really couldn't figure it out. And then, yeah, it's the shirt that was causing it. So after that, any subsequent things going online, uh, whether it be like a video or going live to a larger audience, definitely solid colors with minimal patterns. Like decals are okay. Like putting a decal like this would be okay, but to actually have consistent patterns where they can actually bump into each other, definitely trying to stay away from those. But yeah, no, absolutely great content. And to sort of answer your question at the very beginning is, when I first got set up, yes, I did reach out to some other fellow streamers who we ended up just doing like a private stream. And just like, I think we went like Facebook Live, but just a dummy account sort of thing. And just they were able to help with audio, with video, with camera angles, and just say, yeah, that looks good. That doesn't look good. You may want to turn your right light up and turn your left one down. And so, yeah, it's definitely helpful to have those friends to be able to help you out with your stream.
100%. I agree with that. So I'm just going up here through the comments, and I'm actually going to pull up your question, Kevin. This was related to the lighting at the beginning, or I'm sorry, about the shine for the gentleman. So the answer is yes, maybe. So with lighting with the shine, there's a couple reasons why it happens. It's not necessarily because of the setting that you have the light on, but it's because of the heat that's generated by the lights. So if you're someone that works with the large lights, they produce a lot of heat. And typically when you're in an environment, you're kind of sitting in front of those lights for an extended period of time. So that tends to be where the shine comes from. You can soften it as much as you can by using the softer diffused lighting that will disperse the light and make it less harsh. That doesn't necessarily lower the overall temperature being emitted from it. So there's kind of two reasons why the shine occurs. It could be the type of light, but it could also be because of just the heat being generated in close proximity to where you're sitting. So does that answer your question?
100%. 100%.
Awesome. And then Anna shared a few things with us here. Anna said, she said, believe it or not, I struggle with the hair. Not having my hair done brings down my confidence. You know, I didn't necessarily think about the hair because hair is such a personal thing that like I mean it's just hair. I change my hair every week if my hairstylist would let me. She kind of reins me in a little bit, um but it's so personal. And even when like I'll pull my hair back in a ponytail and I do worry what that looks like on stream versus when I have my hair down. So I do get your point that if you don't think that your hair is exactly the way you want it, you're always fiddling with it or worried what it looks like on camera. I totally get that. And here we go. I love this comment. I feel super confident when I have a guest. But I'm challenging you, Miss Anna, because I see what you're doing there. You feel confident when you're joined on stream with someone, but you're worried if all of the focus is on you. You are an amazing person. You have a huge personality and you need to be sharing that. So get yourself on camera and talk to me, talk to Kevin, talk to Manny, just like we are on the stream with you. And you'll be amazed at if you just take that small tweak. And I know, just a little plug, I'm actually going to be on Anna's show Thursday night, and we're going to be talking about confidence on camera. Anna, drop your YouTube channel, please, down in the comments so that we can encourage people to come and follow you. Owen is in the house talking. We're talking confidence on camera and looking good. So thanks for hopping in, Owen. Always appreciate your feedback. Anna's super excited. She's going to be dropping that YouTube link, though, momentarily. I know she is. And it will be in the comments, and I would encourage everyone to hop over and follow Anna because she is an amazing soul, and she has a great message that she shares with the world. So, without any other questions in the queue, I think it's time, gentlemen.
My friends, you saw some amazing content tonight. And truth is, that's what we try to bring you every single week. Dori truly brought it this evening. And if you enjoy content like this and you're finding it useful, we would love it if you'd like and subscribe to our channel. And sharing our content is also a great way to spread the love. And you can visit our website for all the information on the different ways that you can connect with us at Linktree right there on your screen /Content Creators Connect. We are on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
And we also want to hear from you as well. So if there is a topic that you want us to do a deep dive on, definitely let us know in the comments below so that we can provide you that information so that you can become a better streamer and have more confidence on your live streams. So definitely reach out and let us know. So let's turn it over to Dori to wrap things up.
Thank you for joining Content Creators Connect, aka C3, tonight as we covered some essential tips in looking your best on camera. We return next Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, where Manny, this guy right down here in the corner, will be demonstrating the most up-to-date method for trimming videos on Facebook. P.S. The process has changed, so be sure to join us. We'll be multicasting live to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, so be sure to join us. Until then, we urge you to identify and lean into your 3 C's. Start today creating unique content that builds connections and breaks down those barriers. See you next week.
Bye. Thanks for joining.